Fanimo. Mr. Fanimo is a seasoned reporter right here in Nigeria and also a public and political affairs analyst and commentator. Well, a very good afternoon to you, sir, and thank you for joining the conversation.
Good afternoon, David.
All right, and well, I was going to call on Henose Omoka, who is going to join us virtually, but I'm being told by my producer right now that he's not joined at the moment, so we expect him to join in the course of the conversation. Now, let's get into it almost immediately. Now, I want to start off from the latest, which is about the recent viral video of the commissioner at the City Boy movement that was, inaugurated in Lagos. The NDC speaking on that and asking that the police at the federal give a clear statement as to why the person of Mr. Fatai, CP Fatai, should not be maybe called to order. Because, again, they believe that his presence there is clearly showing partisanship and should not be seen in any way. What's your take with this call by the NDC, first off? Because there are several conversations surrounding that particular move as concerning the fact that elections are near the corner. And, of course, everybody is trying to just cover their loose ends, if I want to use those words.
Well, let me start by saying that the presence of the CP could be for many reasons.
Okay.
For instance, he is supposed to protect lives and property in his jurisdiction, which is Lagos today, as the Commissioner of Police for the Lagos Police Command. Mm-hmm. And you know that the antecedent of the City Boys is something that requires a lot of security cover-up when they're out there. Because as you have the City Boys, you also have the Village Boys.
Oh, yeah.
And so, if there could be a clash, or there is suspicion that there could be a clash, it is incumbent on the police to be around, to be on ground, to prevent such occurrence from happening. If that is the reason for him, because most times when we see the presence of security men around certain places, we just assume without really getting to the root of why they are there. I'll give you an example. If there is a robbery incident and there is intel that those armed robbers or kidnappers were coming through, for instance, if they kidnap in Niger and they're escaping through Ekpe, once the radio signal gets to the Ekpe division of the Lagos State Police Command, the plausible thing is for the area commander, in conjunction with the DPO of that area, to mount roadblock.
Okay.
And then when they mount that roadblock, they would deliberately cause traffic so that the shoulders of the road would have been blocked by people struggling to get out of that. But when you encounter such roadblock, you say, what are these people doing here, for God's sake? Whereas they are not going to stop you to tell you, we are expecting some armed robbers. You now see that as soon as they get intel, maybe a batch of operatives are pursuing them towards that area, they will also be receiving radio signal that, look, we are about 2 kilometers to that checkpoint. Clear the road so that if there is going to be a crossfire, it won't affect motorists. Right. So that is why I said, before you can really put your finger to why the CP is there, you need to know his mission there.
Well, it's actually clear on the part of security, which again you mentioned, that on the part of security, it should be properly condoned well because of the kind of people that is expected at the time. But you also did mention the part of the area commander and the DPOs of that area at the time. I mean, they can't do this job. Why is the commissioner, who again, in my own layman's language,
he's not a politician.
Is the general overseer of the police in Lagos. Why is he seen in that area?
Yes.
That's the question the NDC is asking. And then there are questions about the fact that he was seen, felicitating.
Did he speak? Was he given the microphone to talk?
To speak? Well, that again is not visible. But then his presence is another question.
Commissioner of Police is not detached from the public. As a matter of fact, there is something called KYE in the force. Know your environment. So the Commissioner of Police cannot act in isolation. He will also have relationship with some people in the state. So if he sees one or two of his friends on that ground, will he pretend that he doesn't know them? He will greet them. The only reason why I will take it up on him is if there is evidence of partisanship on that ground, like coming to talk officially or attacking those perceived to be against the city boys. That's the only time you can hold him responsible for anything that would have happened.
All right,
as
then.
It is.
All right then.
He is supposed to take care of security.
In maybe one sentence or more, the concerns of the NDC based on partisanship, the concern of the next election, is it truly valid with the visibility of the CP at that event?
You see, either way you like it.
Because a lot of people are saying, look, this is not politics.
No matter how you put it.
Don't play politics with this.
I am not one that will come and condemn the CP here because I don't have that fact. But from what I saw, the picture I saw, it was on ground to do cover up. It was to maintain peace, to ensure that nothing untoward. Now, if anything happens on that ground, and it results to death, they say, where was the Commissioner of Police? Where was the area commander? Where was the DPO? Even if they are not invited, don't they know that they are supposed to protect Nigerians? So, but if there is every reason to believe that it shows some level of partisanship on that ground, then we cannot take it off. And I'm yet to see or hear anything like that.
All right, then. Let's move a bit to electioneering, where INEC again has increased the days for collection of the PVCs for Nigerians in the state. And I'm talking about Osun State. And you know the election is in, I think, August 16th, I think? 15, 16, thereabout. Now, looking at the fact that the days for collection of PVCs have been increased, with the crowd going as far as wanting to get their PVCs and the disruption being experienced at this point, would you say that INEC on one hand is ready for the August 15th or 16th election in Osun State? Because you would recall the Oni of Ife has clearly spoken on that election, saying that the political tension around the areas is becoming unbearable. Is INEC ready? Before we get to on the part of security as well, because let's talk INEC with this extension of PVC collection.
INEC has said it's ready to conduct that election.
Even with the attack on her place of...
yes, where PVCs were kept.
Yes.
You see, INEC as an institution says it's ready. And unfortunately, the security of where the PVC, because PVC is not just an ordinary thing. It should be protected, it should be kept in a very safe place that couldn't be compromised. But unfortunately, it was compromised.
We experienced that,
You understand? And it's also a dent on the level of preparedness, because those cars that are on the loose, only God knows what it will be used for.
Even the beavers.
So we are concerned that such things are happening in Osun just about 2 weeks to election. We are really concerned. And I think one of the things the INEC headquarters should do is to identify those beavers machines.
That's been carted away.
and demobilize them. Because there is operation room where these things are linked to. So now that they have been declared missing, they should demobilize them, that even those who took them away will not have any use for them. So that they don't compromise the election. I think that's the first thing that INEC should do. Then secondly, now that there is these security lapses, and INEC has about 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
To the election. So within these 2 weeks, I think in collaboration with security agents, DSS, police, Nigerian Army, and other security agencies, civil defense, they should go into series of security meetings where all hands will be on deck to ensure that, off-cycle election is not always easy, because the attention and concentration is always on that particular state at that moment.
Right.
And so, whatever it is that they need to do to make sure that the election is violence-free, because we have seen pockets of violence, and it's always by these non-state actors that are emotionally attached to candidates and parties. And most of the time, you see them coming from NURTW and some other agencies, and unions. So they need to really hold their ground to ensure that. I expect by next week there should be a show of force around us.
I like the fact that you said that
security agencies.
I like the fact that you said that there should be some level of high-level meetings between the security forces and INEC. But on one hand is the governor, who has consistently said that the opposition wanting to take him out of office forcefully are responsible for some of the acts that are happening around that particular state. Now, let's talk on the part of the Oni of Ife, who naturally does not even speak anyhow. But for him to come say political tensions are increasing, should that be concerning going into this election 2 weeks before time? Because again, off-cycle elections, like you mentioned, are not easy to come by.
I have covered elections, general election, off-cycle elections, and all whatnot. But you see, the important thing here is that we don't need a traditional ruler of Oni of Ife stature for us to know if people have been killed in the last 2-3 weeks in a state that is preparing for a governorship election. That is enough concern for any right-thinking Nigerian. So we don't need an Oni to put a stamp on the tension that is palpable in Osun as we speak. But the important thing is, these people, you can't tell them not to do it, but you can also prevent them from doing it. And that is where the collaboration between INEC and security agencies come in, to ensure that they do a kind of pushback, show of force to stem the tide and to really rout them. If some of them needs to be picked and put in incarceration for the election to be peaceful, why not? If those who perpetrated the killings are identified, go for them, pick them, prosecute them. That will also serve as deterrent to those who want to foment trouble. But in any election, there is no way you can rule out violence, because Adeleke is the incumbent.
Right.
And is holding on to a party that is not strong. Accord. We want to fight for his life. APC, that is the dominant party at the center, is also having a candidate. So there is no way there won't be that clash. And so to minimize it, the steps to take is what I've just mentioned.
Okay, now let's move a bit more out of the state politics and get to the federal. And at this point, we're talking about the situation that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, the ADC presidential candidate, mentioned about the death of Nigeria. In fact, losing, in his words, the administration losing control of Nigeria's public finances. That is a major statement, if you ask me. But then, looking at the fact that the concern that some figures far above the debt target of the National Assembly has been passed by this present administration, should that be concerning? Because yes, we know borrowing is something every nation developing does,
even
including the US, if even developed economies. But looking at the fact that we are borrowing, and to opposition figures now, it's a major concern that they bring out for Nigerians to see. First off, what's your position with that particular statement by the former vice president that this administration is losing control of our finances, particularly the part of debt?
You see, for me, for you to raise such serious allegations, you must present the facts. I've read the story. The only substance of that story is that $84 billion and I think less than $84 billion was recorded. But he is talking from point of ignorance. Atiku was talking from point of ignorance. The fact that the National Assembly approved $20 billion
right.
loan does not mean that the federal government will access this $20 billion that day. For instance, the finance minister and coordinating minister of the economy was at the National Assembly last week, and he stated clearly that the last $20 billion that was approved, that federal government is yet to assess 30% of it. But everybody runs with the 20 billion on the street. How much has government taken? This loan is not going to be given bulk at a time. Right. It comes in tranches. So, but if you now go out and begin to, and I'm surprised that, you see, on the altar of politics, we should be mindful of what we say. Atiku has been in government. But then listen, yes. He was once vice president to Obasanjo.
Right.
So he was an insider at a time. And he knew, if you pose this question to Atiku, I'm sure he will have something else to say. That is it when a loan proposal, it's just like budget. Budget of 50,000 naira for David Edwin and co. does not mean 50,000 is available for David Edwin and co. This is what I want to spend. It's different from this is what I have to spend. There is a difference between need and want.
So, but then you did say on the altar of politics.
So they didn't. Federal government has not taken the loan wholesale. Atiku is sufficiently,
as it's been touted publicly.
Yeah, yes. Go and find out. Atiku should, as somebody who was once an insider, somebody who rose to a certain rank in the Nigerian Customs Service, somebody who has been vice president, should know some of these intricacies.
But then again,
unlike the layman on the street.
On the part of transparency, which again has been the major lacuna between the government and the people, are we going to be saying that the person of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is right to wanting to push that out as a narrative for Nigerians to leech upon, because the government of the day is not being transparent enough with her fiscal presence with the people?
You see,
is that a premise enough?
I'm not a spokesperson for the government. But what I'm trying to tell you is that if you want to push a narrative to the public,
yes,
make sure it is unassailable. So that when there is a counter information, you'll be able to press further. But where you tell me that I saw you with an iPhone, and I now showed the person you told that Daily Fanimo has iPhone, and I show you that this is Infinix and not iPhone. How do you defend it? Yes, you saw phone in my hand. Yes, federal government took loan. How much of this loan have been assessed? You have not been able to tell us.
So that is the question of mistrust and, of course, not being transparent to the people.
You see, it is not. That's why I feel a little bit of constraint saying all of this. I've been in civil service. I've been seeing all this. I've worked closely with government. I know that there is a difference between approval of a loan and drawing down this loan. You understand?
Right.
And so the minister was at the National Assembly last week.
Okay.
And he explained all these details.
Now, because of our time, in one sentence, the appointment of the GOCs, your take, would that, to a large extent, help mitigate the preparedness of the army?
One of the beauty of the appointment of 4 additional GOCs is the fact that response time will be shorter than before.
Okay.
Because you are bringing divisions nearer to the contiguous states that are under that division. So it's not a question of before now, if anything happens in Benin, maybe you would have to contact 81 div or 2 div.
But on the part of boots on the ground, which again, the 21,000 has not been recruited.
28,000.
28,000, I beg your pardon. Has not been
for God's sake, there are soldiers in the barracks. We still have over 65,000 soldiers in the barracks.
Okay. Oh.